Greetings, Cyberdogs and citizens of the interbubs. This is ReNDoG coming at you in another episode of Minecraft Survival from the Hermitcraft server. We're kicking off today's episode, my friends, with a very simple question for all of my fellow Minecrafters out there. Have you ever felt like you've played Minecraft for 20 freaking hours and achieved absolutely nothing? That's pretty much how I feel today, guys. I have been on the Hermitcraft server for the last 3 days on the major resource collecting grind of doom. I've been cutting down trees. I've been shaving sugarcane. I have been speed mining to get diamonds. I have been grinding quartz in the nether, and I don't really have that much to show for it in today's episode other than a ridiculous amount of resources that have been collected. The good news is I am now ready to do some recording if I can get a bit of airtime over here. Oh, geez, let me try that once again. There we go. And today, my dudes, I'm very excited because we are going to be working on Grand Central Station. It's going to be sweet. We're going to be installing the next part of this giant build over here in Aquatown. But before we get to any of that sweet jazz, we've got some business to attend to. Starting with Big Logs Incorporated. It's time to do a bit of a restock. We checked the profits in the last episode, I think, and as we can see, a lot of the logs have been sold. Ooh, someone actually bought some jungle wood with a ruby gem. That's our very first gem sale. Very good. But as you can see, guys, most of the logs have been purchased, and one of my tasks for the last 3 days have been to cut down a bunch of trees, which I have been doing on the Big Logs Incorporated Industrial Island. As you guys can see, I've got some shulker boxes here full of all of the stock that we need to refill this sucker up. Very good. Let's start with the dark jungle or the dark oak wood. Dark jungle? Man, that would be a sweet tree if we could actually have a dark jungle tree, man. Hey, yo, Mojang. Dark jungle tree in the future, that would be very snazzy. But yeah, I have now basically cut down all of the logs required to restock this sucker, and we needed a full freaking chest of oak, which was a bit of a pain in the butt to get, guys, but very pleased that the Big Logs Incorporated shop has now been restocked. Excellent. We can start getting them diamonds flowing once again. Unfortunately, I've spent a lot of my diamonds over the last few days. I don't really have that many to show for, so I've actually had to spend quite a lot of time in the bacon mine collecting more diamonds. Man, my brain is an absolute mess right now, guys, and we're actually missing one more jungle here. That's annoying. As you can see, man, what am I even doing over here? Oh my goodness. Anyway, there we go. Big Logs has been restocked. Excellent. Hermits, please come by and spend some of your diamonds. That would be beautiful. Speaking of brains, I do think I need a sip of my beverage right now, guys. Get my brain fired up over here. Man, you know, grinding in Minecraft is, for me, one of the funnest activities that you can do. It's kind of relaxing. I usually put on a podcast or some music and I just, you know, collect resources. But man, when you do it for 3 days straight, my dudes, it starts to get a little bit tiring. I'm not going to lie to you. However, I think I've got a plan that might make our grinding on this server a little bit easier. A couple of episodes ago, we saw the butt barge, which is this giant, really cool Concorp boat over here. And, well, as I suspected, Cubfan and his cohorts have decided to take on the log business here on the Hermitcraft server, and they are selling a whole bunch of wood materials. Starting with the, what is this? Yeah, this is stripped birch logs. So they're selling stripped logs over here, 2 diamonds per stack. You know what? I'm actually okay to let these guys sell this stuff. That's fine. I cannot be bothered to cut down trees and then strip the bark. Of course, you have to right-click on a log with an axe to make a stripped oak log or a stripped log. And I think that's a pretty reasonable price, 2 diamonds per stack. You know what, guys? I'll let you have that. However, on this side of the butt barge, there is some shenanigans afoot over here, my dudes. Take a look at this. They are selling normal logs for 1 diamond per stack, and that is half price of the logs available in the Big Logs Incorporated shop. Now, this kind of worries me, but it's also made me realize a little something, my dudes. The Concorp / butt barge has just become the wholesaler for logs to Big Logs Incorporated. I'm just going to buy every single stack of logs that the Concorp put in here and then sell them for double the price in my shop, and I'll still make a profit. I won't make as big of a profit as my actual stock that I cut down, but you know what, man? This is called business war over here. We're fighting a war with money over here, with diamonds, for that matter. And, well, this is actually going to save me a bunch of time, because I'm now not going to have to spend 8 hours cutting down trees ever again. The Concorp will happily cut down the trees for me. And all I'll need to do is come and buy wholesale logs from the butt barge. And that is actually fantastic news. 18 stacks of birch. Nice. That's at least 45 minutes of wood chopping. So thanks, Conbutts. Appreciate it, man. The same is going to apply here for all of this tasty spruce. Get in the belly tasty spruce. Oh man, guys, this is fantastic. You know, I'm actually very happy that the Conbutts have decided to do this. I think it's a great business venture. We're sharing the profits on the logs, so to speak, and I don't have to do all of the hard labor. Which is fantastic. Thank you, Scar, Cubfat, and Python, my dudes. I appreciate all the hard work that you're putting into cutting down trees, man. You're saving the ReNDoG a bunch of time, and that means that the ReNDoG can spend a little bit more time on the Hermit Railway Network, which is exactly what a bunch of you guys out there have been calling for. So, all in all, this is a great start to the week on the Hermitcraft server. I am very, very happy with this, man. Let's just buy all of the logs. Rip profits, guys. 9 diamonds left after this huge spending spree. You know what? That's okay. This is just called good business. Now, anybody who comes here to buy cheap logs is going to see that it's all sold out, and well, there's only one place they'll be able to go to get their logs, and that is, of course, Big Logs Incorporated. ReNDoG cooking with some business gas today, baby. Speaking of gas, Cyberdogs, I am not the only hermit on this server that has been grinding like nobody's business, baby. My fellow Wolf of Hermit Street, Doc M77, has been installing some insane redstone into the stock exchange. Want to show you guys some of the stuff today, man. And if you haven't checked out Doc's last episode, you need to go and check it out. It is some of the best redstone that I've ever seen, and Doc is on a roll, man. He is absolutely nailing the redstone, and it actually melts my brain when I even think about what he's done. I've also done a bit of work over here. Guys did a live stream this weekend where we installed a good section of the roof of the stock exchange. Take a look at this. Doesn't that look really awesome? Basically, the idea here was to have some cross beams going across a really high roof to create a nice amount of depth here in the stock exchange. That sort of implies wealth. It implies sort of expensiveness, which is what we're going for. And of course, keeping to the theme of having really expensive quartz walls. Spent way too much time in the nether collecting quartz and need to go get some more quartz. So yay, that's going to be fun. But the roof is looking really awesome. What I wanted to try and do is create some sort of a ripple effect in the roof, almost like it's sort of waves in the ocean or something like that. So we've got a sort of cross beam going over here, and then a combination of stairs and slabs with a chiseled quartz lining in the middle, I think has created a really nice effect up there. I love the shadows too. And those shadows are created by the torches above the stairs and slabs, of course, in the top half of the roof. So that's looking pretty sweet, man. Been doing most of that grind off camera. But check it out. The stock exchange coming along a treat. Doc has installed something that is going to blow your mind. It is an actual elevator. That comes with elevator music, which is absolutely insane. Now, as I am a builder and not a redstoner in Minecraft, guys, it is basically impossible for me to explain to you exactly what Doc has done here from a redstone perspective. What I can tell you is that it is absolute madness. This is just the beginning of the redstone madness that exists as a part of the Hermitcraft Stock Exchange. I would really encourage you to go and check out Doc's last video, man. Basically, what Doc has installed is a vault that opens up behind this. There is then an elevator that includes elevator music. And yes, it's an actual elevator. Goes all the way down to the vault room, comes all the way back. You can then recall the elevator, and you can call it from the top. Oh, it is absolutely insane. And to get in here, there is a special coded system that you have to use in order to open the vault, which of course can only be accessed by the traders here at the stock exchange. It's all absolutely insane, guys. Go and check it out, man. It's unbelievable, actually. This build is coming along an absolute treat, not only from a build perspective, but from a redstone perspective. This place is just absolutely beautiful. We're not going to be working on this today, though, my dudes, because I'm very, very keen to get cracking on the HRN a little bit. I'm going to be doing a little bit more grind today off camera, so next time we come together, the interior of the stock exchange will be done, and as will the vaults beneath the stock exchange too. So then we'll be pretty close to opening up the stock exchange to the server, which is going to be awesome. By the way, there's a couple of cool things to look around here before we get cracking on the Grand Central Station. There's a giant rainbow over here, which has popped up over the last few days. This is Azuma Void's brand new wool shop, which is pretty cool. Take a look at this, man. To get in there, we got to go down here, I think. Yeah, this is the way in. And it is a very weird and very fantastical shop. We've got a little bit of a showroom here with all the colors. Very nice, all the different beds. But take a look at this, guys. In order to actually buy the wool, we actually have to go up into the rainbow. And here we are in a giant rainbow filled with water. Azuma Void, my dude, I think has been munching on some of Doc M77's mushrooms, because this is absolute insanity going on over here. This is the shop itself. This is where you come to purchase all the different wool types and whatnot. And to get out, you got to swim all the way down the other side of the rainbow. I mean, I literally have no idea how Azuma Void came up with this in his brain, but this is pretty cool. I think it's really sweet, man. Good job, X. Very, very strange, man. Never know what you're going to discover on the Hermitcraft server, guys. Let me tell you, absolute madness. So yeah, lots of amazing stuff going on around the server. I also noticed yesterday that Jevs, my dude, has removed the Ores Galore shop. Oh my goodness, I feel so bad, guys. I just want to take a moment to apologize to Jev for calling him out in the last episode. I think I called his shop pretty janky and stuff. I feel really bad about it. I'm sorry, Jeff. He was having a really busy day the day that he made that, so he didn't have much time to make it. And, well, he's removed it now, so sorry about that, Jeff. I didn't mean to be mean, man. And to all you Jeff fans out there, my apologies, guys. I didn't mean to call out Jeff so hard. Oh, my goodness. I feel so terrible about it, man. In other news, my dudes, you may have noticed a shiny new turtle cap on top of my noggin. That's right. I have recreated Doggertello's dome. Finally, after I lost it in the nether a few episodes ago. It's Doggertello's Dome the second. Aqua Affinity, Unbreaking, Respiration, Projectile Protection, and Mending. And I gotta say, guys, I spent a lot of resources making that stupid hat. It took me 4 tries to get it right, and a lot of paper got wasted to do this. I bought 4 freaking hats from Azuma Void's turtle shop and spent an insane amount of paper at iTrade to get it done. Very pleased that it's happened. I used this to grind a whole bunch of gravel from underneath the ocean. I've actually got 2 shulker boxes of gravel over here that we're going to be using for today. But this has been a very, very fun section of the world, guys. I've really enjoyed grinding all of this sugarcane. We set this up last episode, and it kind of reminds me of DuckTales, which is a cartoon that my brother and I used to watch. There's a character in DuckTales called Scrooge McDuck, and he is an exceptionally wealthy duck with a giant vat of golden coins. And, well, he dives into the coins and swims in them like they are water. Yeah, physics. But, you know, it's Disney. And I always thought that was a really cool thing. I always wanted to dive into a vat of coins. And this sugarcane farm kind of reminds me of that, especially when you start harvesting this sucker. However, I want to give a quick shout out to those of you out there in the last episode who helped me out with improving this farm. You might be wondering why the sugarcane is growing here next to no water, right? We know that sugarcane needs a water source to grow, and it's still here, it's still growing. What the jazz is going on? Well, these are stair blocks, and of course in Minecraft 1.13, water will become a part of a stair block, so a water source will share a stair block in the same space, which is absolutely amazing. It means we can make these platforms next to our sugarcane, and it makes it so much easier to grind. But yeah, as you guys can see, this is one of the most satisfying things that I have discovered in Minecraft. Just going back and forth, shaving sugarcane. It's pretty crazy, man. And with these platforms, of course, it's much easier to collect the sugarcane now. Takes about 15 minutes or so to go through a full run, and a full run gives us about 2 double chests worth of sugarcane, which is pretty awesome. So we'll be able to collect all of the paper that we need for the stock exchange pretty quickly using this new sugarcane platform. Tell you what, guys, I'm just going to settle in and do this, and then we can go start placing some blocks on the Grand Central Station. It's going to be freaking awesome, man. Nice. 4 double chests worth of sugarcane in the belly. Just 6 more to go for the stock exchange, and that was a lot of fun, guys. I can't wait for the sugarcane to grow again so that I can do that one more time. Man, it's very strangely satisfying, kind of like picking out a scab or something, you know what I mean? Anyway, sun is rising. Time to get down to some actual crafting for today's episode. Here are the shulker boxes that we're going to need, guys. I have got a bunch of gravel, a bunch of sand, got a bunch of white concrete, and a little bit more of those 2 resources. I also got a bunch of glass over here, and some bone meal, and some sea lanterns. We still have a little bit of a resource gathering to do together today, guys, because we're going to be taking on some of the more interesting parts of the Grand Central Station build today. We're going to be working on the central column as well as some of the glass walls around the circumference of it. So it's going to be a pretty sweet. But before we can even get going on that, we need to work out exactly what we need. So last time we worked on this build, we set up the basic skeletal foundations for what is going to become the Grand Central Station of Hermitcraft Island. Today I'd like to start working a little bit more on the flooring of it, and I also want to start installing some of the windows and some of the glass and whatnot. I think I pretty much have enough resources for what I want to achieve today. But one of the trickier resources that we're going to need to get going is some light grey concrete. It's going to be the primary building block for the interior passageway of Grand Central Station. And for that, we're going to need ink, and we are going to need bone meal. Luckily, I've got a bunch of bone meal that I've been getting from the skeleton grinder and that I got from the Wither Skeleton farm. But it is the blank ink part of the light grey concrete that I don't have. I'm hoping that Falsey's black ink shop here is fully stocked. Yes, it is. Excellent. And are the prices still? Yeah, they're 3 diamonds per stack. So I don't know exactly how much ink we're going to need. So I think I'm just going to start with 1 stack of ink. We need a lot more bone meal than we need black ink, right? Because we've got to make grey concrete, and then we have to turn the grey concrete into light grey concrete. So I think a stack of ink is going to be okay for now. We're going to have to save ourselves a few diamonds today because we're going to need a few more different colors of concrete also, and that's actually kind of exciting because then we get to use this shop over here, which I haven't used yet. This is the flower shop, I believe. Yeah, this is Python's flower shop. Very cool. So this is going to give us pretty much all of the colors that we need for Grand Central Station. Of course, Grand Central Station is going to have 4 different lines that are going to each have their own specific color, and we're going to be indicating those lines using the colored concrete that matches that, right? We're also going to need a bunch of colored glass too. So, wow, buying all of those logs from the butt barge over here might come back to bite us in the butt. Now, I've got a full shulker box worth of glass here already collected, guys, but I want to use this glass for the walls of the outer corridor of Grand Central Station. For the central pillar, however, we are going to need some orange glass. So here I am in the glass shop. Man, it feels good to have all of these resources available on this server. It's going to save me so much time. I would like to buy some orange stained glass from the glass shop, and I think it is... what is it, 2 diamonds per stack? Yeah, it's 2 diamonds per stack. Okay, so let's pick ourselves up some orange stained glass. We might be able to save a little bit if we use glass panes instead of glass blocks, which I think is something that we may be able to do. But let's just pick up 2 stacks of those for now. That should do us quite nicely, and maybe we can get over there and start actually laying down some glass over here. We are going to have to make a little bit more colored concrete also, so I'm going to have to head over to the concrete factory at some point to make some more white concrete. But to start things off, why don't we get cracking on making some of the light gray concrete? I think that's probably going to be the best place to start. Let's start working on the actual floor over here so that we can move around Grand Central Station a little bit easier. All right, so we've got most of the resources that we need to get going over here, guys. I kind of regret my decision to spend all of those diamonds on the butt barge now. Jeez, I could have made my life so much easier by just buying everything. However, it's okay. Let's start by making some light gray concrete over here. Let's see how much we can actually make. We'll get a bit of bone meal out over here. And I think what we're going to have to do is start with some light gray dye, right? And it looks like we can make light gray dye right off the bat with 2 bone meals and an ink sac. Oh, that's interesting. So we're only going to get 1 stack of light gray dye over here. Oh, no, we'll get 3 stacks of light gray dye. Okay, so that's actually not too bad. We'll be able to create quite a lot of light gray concrete powder over here, which is exactly what we need. Make 3 stacks of that jazz. And, well, we're going to have to convert this into, well, solid light gray concrete. And that means we need to go over to the concrete factory real quick. Great news, guys. We're making some excellent progress over here at Grand Central Station. Feels really good to be working on this build again. I've been working a little bit on the central passageway system, as well as collecting all the resources that we might need today, and wanted to bring you guys back for the next part here. I know some of you guys out there are trying to build this thing yourself, so I want to take you through the sort of technical steps as we go. First things first, I want to lay down a sort of central track that is going to be following all the way around Grand Central Station, and that central track is going to lead into each of the 4 platforms in the station. I'm going to be working on yellow platform today. This is the north platform, and the key to this particular build is to use colors in a very smart way, right? We want someone who is in the station to know exactly where they are at all times, and when they are in one of the terminals, they need to know exactly which terminal they're in. So what we've done here is we've added a little bit of a yellow liner into the support beams over here. We'll make a couple more of these in a second, and of course I've also added this sort of central track that goes all the way around the circumference of Grand Central Station. Now, to make this bad boy is kind of easy. All we need to do is find the center of the cross beam over here, the passage that is going to take us to the very middle of Grand Central Station, and then we just need to build a double wide passageway all the way to this point over here. Hi there. Oh, hi. There's multiples of you. Oh, wow. There's actually quite a few of you coming to join the party. What is happening, my dudes? What's going down? Do you mind backing the freak up, please? I'm trying to do some crafting over here, man. Jeez. Note to self, Cyberdog dogs, don't work on an oceanic build in the middle of the night in the Aquatic update, because drowns will bother you constantly. Just slept the night away, and that should give us a nice good long day here to work on the build. Now, to create this diagonal connection between the straight lines is kind of tricky, right? We want to make sure that this follows the curvature of our octagon as close to symmetrical as possible. And the way that we do this is kind of simple. We're going to build out our passageway to this position over here, which matches or lines up, should I say, with the third of the blocks in this diagonal over here. So 1, 2, 3, right? There's the third diagonal. And then from that position, all we need to do is build sections of 3 blocks like this to create that sort of diagonal effect. Now, we're going to be mirroring this above also once we've got all of the support beams built in. But for now, we're just going to install the floor part of this. And of course, this is going to then allow us to fill in all of this space here with that light gray concrete that we created. And that should create for us a nice symmetrical looking passageway that goes all the way around the octagon. Very, very nice. Okay, so that's now completed. Next step, of course, is to complete these sort of pillars over here. I've got some yellow concrete over here. Not a lot, though. Unfortunately, I've underestimated the amount of resources that we're going to need today. Plus, I spent all of my diamonds like an idiot. So it's going to be kind of tricky to keep going here and to do as much as possible. But let's crack on. Now, what we're going to do is add a little bit of a lining here into the yellow station. The idea here is that when a hermit walks from that terminal to this terminal, they will walk from, I think this one is going to be blue, I think. So they'll walk out of the blue terminal into a neutral color zone. Here we're going to be using neutral colors and white glass. And then when they walk across the passageway into the yellow terminal, of course, they will see this yellow lining, and that'll indicate to them that they are now in the southern yellow terminal. Does that make sense? It's pretty simple to understand, I think. And the way that we're going to do this is just by starting to add a few layers on the outside. So we're going to go 3 up, and then 1 in, 1 in, 1 in, and then this is going to go all the way across. I think I sort of messed up a little bit on the foundations of this, but that's not a problem. We can just sort of get rid of these original skeleton blocks over here and just get that yellow in. That's going to go all the way over here, and what we're going to do then, of course, is add another line of white, just so that we sort of sandwich that yellow in between. These yellow lines are actually really important for this build, because these yellow lines indicate where the glass wall is going to start. The glass here in yellow terminal, of course, is going to be, well, yellow, and that glass is going to run all the way across here, and then it's going to sort of follow the pattern. But for now, let's just make sure that we get the lining in, and we should be able to do this quite simply and quite quickly. There we go. Oh my goodness. You know, we should probably get the floor in, actually, so that we don't keep on falling into the water like an idiot. Definitely not the most efficient way to build here, but that's fine. There we go. So now that we've got the yellow lining in, all we have to do is the central bit, of course, which is going to be sandwiching those yellow blocks in between these white blocks over here. And that's how we're going to do this, man. Going to be pretty sweet. I need to figure out exactly what colors all of the other terminals are going to be, but I think for today, we'll work on yellow terminal to start with, and we'll also work a little bit on the sort of connecting passageways over here when we need to get the glass in and whatnot. So next step for me is going to be to get the floor in, which is going to take some time. So I'm going to go find a podcast. I'll see you guys in like 40 minutes. You know, I've actually been feeling a little bit embarrassed about the Grand Central Station build over here, guys. It's been a giant white skeleton in the middle of the ocean now for a couple of weeks, and I'm sure some of the hermits out there are getting a little bit annoyed that I haven't started working on it. So I'm actually very pleased to have done a bunch of progress here today. You know how it is when I play Minecraft, man. I get so many projects open at the same time that I lose focus on one, and then I start another, and then I go back to the other one. Oh man, it's just how I roll. Anyhoozle, the place is looking real spicy. Just finished adding in a bunch of the floor over here. Unfortunately, I have almost run out of light gray concrete. I've managed to do basically half of the octagon here. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more grinding, I think, to get some more light gray concrete. We're going to need a little bit more ink and whatnot to get that done. But I've also added a few more yellow linings into the yellow terminal over here, the north terminal. And as you can see, it's starting to really stand out now, right? When you're walking through the octagon, when you get to this position, because of the lining that we added to the support beams and to the floor, you really know where you are when you get to this position. So that's really important. Now, I want to continue on that process by adding some glass into the yellow terminal. I want to use yellow glass, of course, for the yellow terminal, and then a more neutral color glass for the diagonal. So that's what we're going to do now. And, well, this is going to be a pretty expensive task in itself too, because we need sea lanterns. This place is going to need a ton of light so that no mobs spawn inside. And unfortunately, the only place that we're going to be able to install light is in the passageways like above here, which eventually we will do, but also running along the sides of it. So let's start busting down some sea lanterns. I've added some sand down here, or some dirt rather, as a foundation. And basically, we are going to be using just sea lanterns all the way around this octagon, which means we're going to need an insane amount of sea lanterns. I'm sure Iskal's going to be pleased with that, man. We're going to make him very rich at the Black Pearl. But let's run a few down this way, and then of course we'll do exactly the same on this side too. I think it is like that. Yeah, well, let's just go with that for now. We can always change it if it's wrong. And then, of course, that's going to be running up the middle. Now, you might notice that these linings that we have installed are going to quite neatly match up with the glass that we're going to be installing, which was exactly my plan for the design. However, we do want to hide these sea lanterns over here, right? They do stand out quite a lot, which means we've got to turn to another very expensive block in Minecraft, which is quartz. And unfortunately, I am splitting my quartz between the stock exchange and Grand Central Station right now. So, yeah, I'm going to be so poor after this, man. It's going to be absolutely insane. But yeah, we're going to get some of these stairs like this, right? Just to sort of hide the front of the sea lanterns like so. And we'll probably add a couple more to the front of these pillars here too. I guess we need to probably double up these lines over here too, actually add a little bit more yellow in there. I don't have any yellow blocks on me though. Let me have a look. There we go. We got some more yellow. So yeah, let's double up these ones, I think. don't know if that's in the template, but it is now. It actually makes more sense if they doubled up, right? Because they go into the double pillars over here on both sides. So yeah, you know, this build is all about symmetry, man. Like, the base of this build is a giant octagon, and I think that, like, if you're going to make a symmetrical build, you need to make the build as symmetrical as possible. If anything is sort of out of symmetry, it just starts to look really strange. It starts to look like a little bit more amateurish, so to speak, as a build, right? You've got to try to keep it as clean as possible. Right, let's make some yellow stained glass, shall we? I've got a bunch here. Do I want to make 8 stacks of this? I don't know if I want to make 8 stacks. I don't really want to waste. Oh, you know what? We're going to need glass for the top of the building anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. But yeah, this is where we're going to be installing the glass, just like this, right? So on top of the sea lanterns, and then it's going to be pretty easy to do this. All we're going to do is follow those contours or those markers that we made with the yellow concrete, right? And all we need to do is just finish off the roof like that. So now, like, you know, we get this really nice curve on the outside of the station too. If we take a look at it from here, we get that really nice sort of curvature that follows these support beams, but at the same time, we don't have to like work really, really hard on creating very complicated gradients and stuff using the glass, right? We can literally just follow these foundation blocks that we've added. So I think that's kind of useful for a huge build like this. You know, if you can find nice little tricks that gets you around spending tons of time working on like really complicated little like block placings and illusions and stuff, I think that's definitely the way to go, especially when you're doing a symmetrical build like this. But there we go. So I'm going to get all of this yellow glass installed over here, guys. It should start to look pretty sweet. Then we can work on the diagonal section over here, and man, that'll be some pretty good progress for today. Man, I'm really starting to like the lines and depth in this build, guys. It's so simple, but I just think it looks so cool. I love how this passageway is turning out. It has a very distinct sort of shape in the middle of it, and I think that comes from the one side of it being completely straight vertically and then the other side being a little bit curved. I think it adds a really interesting sort of feel to it. Anyway, looking really sweet. I've just installed all of the yellow glass. Let's take a very quick flyby, actually, just to see if it's starting to pop a little bit, right? The idea, of course, is for these terminals, the north, south, east terminals, to really pop out of the build. And yeah, that's looking really good. Although I've forgotten to add the outside pillars over here, right, to the support beams. So that's my bad. Anyway, I'll finish that off camera in a second. Next up, I want to work on the glass for the diagonals, because this is the tricky bit. This is the tricky bit that I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to do on camera without derping up. First off, let's make some white stained glass. Why are there 2 white stained glasses over here? Very strange. Anyway, let's make a bunch of white stained glass, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and do exactly the same thing that we did with the yellow glass, but it's going to be a little bit more tricky, right? So we're going to follow the yellow marker that we've laid out over here in the support beams. That is a really loud motorbike. I'm sorry if you guys heard that, man. And what we can do for the straight areas over here, of course, is just sort of copy exactly the same way that we did before. But when we get to the diagonal bit, this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. We're going to have to use some dirt foundations here to get this done. So let's make our 2-block high glass wall over here all the way to this position. I've run out of sea lanterns, so I can't actually finish it completely, which is annoying. But what we're going to have to do here is go a little bit in an interesting like way over here, right? So what we want to try and do from a builder's perspective, guys, there is so much noise going on outside right now. There's like ambulances and fire trucks. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted over here. Anyway, in the zone, let's keep on going, okay? What we want to try and do is follow this diagonal line on the next diagonal line, and one up, so to speak, right? I don't know if that makes any sense. Let me try and show you using some dirt over here, right? So we're going to add a dirt block over there, and then we are going to trace, I suppose, this diagonal line with some more glass like that, and that creates that sort of gradient, the same gradient that we get over there, but it creates it on the diagonal. And that's how we're going to do it all the way up to the top. And all we need to do here, of course, is build the glass to this point and then add a little bit more dirt here for the next section of it. And then we're going to go all the way up to the top. And we have to be really careful with the connection, though, because the connection can be a little bit tricky. Oops, rip Silkworm Jim. I missed that pickaxe so much, man. But this is going to be the end over here, right? This is the connection that I'm talking about. So we have to sort of watch this connection just a little bit. That connection is going to come all the way over here, and that shows us where we're going to start our next lining, so to speak, over here, right? So pretty simple to do. It keeps the glass really, you know, it gives that nice little gradient over here, but it also helps to like accentuate the diagonal corner here, or the diagonal shape of the octagon, without adding too much craziness in the actual curve itself, right? Like we could make the curve a lot more complicated, but I think this is probably the best way to do it. And then of course we're just going to flatten out here and then fill all of this in with glass. Rip Green, my dude. Looks like he fell off a ladder, man. Definitely one of the reasons why after all these years I still love this game so much, guys. When a vision that you have slowly but surely starts to come together in Minecraft Survival, whew, man, there's not many feelings in this world that are better than that, in my humble, nerdy opinion. Anyway, just finished installing all of the glass for the diagonals. It's looking absolutely amazing in here. I love it. Look at this. It is so sweet. It definitely has a very unique feel to it, which was super important for me. I really wanted it to feel like a station. I wanted it to feel like something special here on the Hermitcraft server, right? Something that's unique to the server, and something that like all of the hermits out there will really enjoy using. And man, it's looking so tasty right now, man. I'm loving it. Let's take a look from above real quick. And yeah, that's looking great. In the original build, I'll throw it up on the screen now, this was actually blue, and a lot of you guys suggested that we try a white glass instead. And you know what? I think that's actually a really good suggestion. It's a much more neutral color, and it really helps to make the terminal colors pop more, right? So great suggestion, guys. All of this glass will get sorted out. We're going to be adding a lot of stuff above the glass so that it's not going to look so flat. But yeah, we still got a long way to go on this project. There's one more thing that I'd like to do, though, before our time runs out here together. I want to get the central pillar glass installed. This shouldn't take me too long. However, I don't know if I'm going to have enough glass for this. But basically, all we're going to be doing for this is creating a massive tube out of orange glass. It's going to go all the way to the top. And then within this space, we're going to have some bubble vaders to take hermits up and down this elytra tower over here. So this shouldn't take me too long. I might have to go and get a little bit more orange dye, though, from the flower factory over there in the medieval district. But yeah, as I say, super happy with how this build is turning out. Well, guys, we are now officially out of glass, and officially out of diamonds, and officially out of quartz, which means it's time for me to say goodbye and go back to grinding resources for a few more hours. Oh my goodness, man. We made some amazing progress here today, though. I really like how this little quadrant has turned out. We installed North Station at the yellow terminal. Looking absolutely amazing. And all we need to do now is exactly the same thing for 3 more terminals. And then we need to work a little bit more on the center over here, and of course complete the elytra tower. But as far as progress for one day on the Hermitcraft server is concerned, my dudes, I am very pleased with this. It is coming together real nice, man. It's very white at the moment, but we're going to be adding some prismarine, and we're going to be adding some really interesting details into the build at some point too, which is going to really bring the whole thing together. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the episode. I've had a great time on the server today. I'm going to say goodbye for now so that I can get this video edited and rendered for you guys, because tomorrow it's my birthday and I will not be recording any videos tomorrow. So I'm going to try and get this out for you as soon as possible, man. I might be live streaming though, so if you see a Twitter message or something for a ReNDoG live stream, come by and say hello, say happy birthday to me, man. Anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to smack the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you would like to. And if you do, jingle jangle, the jingle jangle jangle thing. Guys, thank you for watching. Time to get ready for my birthday. We'll smell you all in the next episode.